Good east positioning of the sun, everybody, and happy May the 4th. For those of you not in the loop of internet culture, May the 4th is Star Wars Day. As it's a pun of May the Force be with you, May the 4th be with you. You can see I'm recording this the day before. Well, actually, no, you can't, but I'm recording this the day before May the 4th. Anyway, this year for May the 4th, I'm going to be ranking all the mainline Star Wars movies, which is in short the original trilogy, the prequel trilogy, and the sequel trilogy. All 9 of those is going to be ranked in this video. And this is also giving me, I also have the next 3 May the 4th videos planned. Not worked on, but planned. Anyways, after rewatching all 9 movies, I've come up with, in my opinion, the definitive ranking for how all of these are going to go. So, let's begin with number 9, the worst of the 9 is Episode 8, The Last Jedi. Alright. Let's just get the obvious out of the way. I don't think anyone has a working brain, especially these two. Like, the creatures suck, no one likes the Pagos, that's true, and the Crystal Wolves are literally 13 insert fanfic. And my biggest gripe is the characters. They're all dumbasses. Especially these two, and Luke is just done so dirty considering every single other one of his appearances. Even in the next movie, he's done with more respect than he's done here. Rose is literally the fucking worst, sacrificing herself for no good reason and putting everyone in more danger because she committed a sacrifice. Holdo is an absolute dumbass, and I thought that they were totally going to make her a traitor at some point, but no, she ends up sacrificing herself, which is really fucking weird. I think the only 3 characters that I could say anything positive about are Kylo Ren, Poe, and Leia. Leia was the only character not being able to be done sufficiently dirty because she was just out of it for the most part. Although I guess the Force Be With You scene was pretty stupid. Poe didn't have much of an appearance in Force Awakens, so I don't think there was a chance to write him out of character. And they actually did try to do something interesting with Kylo Ren by the end here, with him just wanting to take apart everything and start anew as its dictator. I think that was a decent idea that they never were able to truly follow up on, considering the next movie. But still, like those are the only 3 characters I can say anything positive about. Canto Bight, for as much shit as it gets, I actually thought that was one of the better scenes in the movie. It felt like it was having more fun and didn't really have time to pick apart just like the insane amounts of, shall we say, rushedness and empty-headedness. So yeah. In short, no one has a working brain, especially not Rose and Holdo. And it was just infuriating to watch. I'll be honest. The Last Jedi is the worst Star Wars movie of the main 9. Coming in at number 8, we have Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. These two could probably get swapped around, Rise of Skywalker and Last Jedi, but here's the thing, and reasoning I put Rise of Skywalker above The Last Jedi, and it's that Rise of Skywalker's main issue was forgettable. I was pissed off at The Last Jedi for watching it, and The Rise of Skywalker just made me bored. I can't remember anything despite finishing the movie today to make this video. So, it's just boring. I don't think Palpatine needed to come back. I think if they wanted to have a conclusive finale, they should have made Kylo Ren an absolute villain who, instead of getting redeemed at the end, making him an even bigger copycat of Darth Vader, you could just have him be ultimately irredeemable, fall too far from the dark, and have to be stopped. And I kind of wish they went for that instead. I also wanted to point out the lightsaber continuity. What was the point of breaking Anakin's lightsaber in that film if you're just gonna have Rey use it again? And you had perfect opportunities. You basically revealed in a post-credit scene, but not actually a post-credit scene, that Rey's staff was a lightsaber the entire time. You could have had a scene of her discovering that and having her own lightsaber. Because it kind of seems like a thing with every so-called Skywalker that they start with Anakin's original saber and move on to a different legacy in making their own saber. Anakin did it when he became Darth Vader. Luke did it when he was forced to make his own, having the design of Obi-Wan but the color of Yoda's. And now you could have done the same thing with Rey. And even if you didn't want to have her staff be a lightsaber, Leia's was right there. You did not need to bring this lightsaber back and just ultimately screw it over. Screw over the powerful scene, the one good scene that Last Jedi had going for it. And the other issue but that's more of a nitpick. The main issue I have with this film, aside from not being able to remember anything, is just its pandering to the original trilogy. You have Luke lifting up the X-Wing, Lando Calrissian coming out of nowhere and saving the day, Palpatine coming back as the main villain of the trilogy and revealed that he's somehow alive. It's too much pandering to the original trilogy, and ultimately why I think the sequel trilogy is kind of useless. I didn't like these movies. And even though The Force Awakens is a good movie, you might be surprised by what comes next, I ultimately think that it was not enough to warrant the existence of the other two. But that's all my thoughts on Rise of Skywalker, and coming in at number 7, we have Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. If this episode is known for one thing, it's known for the memes. Like, seriously. Like, this picture is Jesus, according to Google. So, you know. The middle is very boring. It doesn't really do much, and that's mostly just because of Anakin and Padme's romance. I don't want to see anything about it. I do like how they have set up the Obi-Wan and Anakin banter. That was pretty funny and charming, and it really does make these two look like brothers who have bonded, which, especially considering what the next movie is trying to do, is pretty good. The Geonosis fight scene is pretty great. I've always liked Kamino in a weird way, and having the clones and establishing them for stormtroopers, I thought that was pretty cool. Yoda versus Dooku is an insane fight that is underrated and goes absolutely hard. But in short, it's just so much of it is so boring in the middle, especially because of Anakin and Padme's romance, that it brings it down this far and takes the title of the worst of the prequel trilogy. And I'm pretty sure no one's going to disagree with me. Anyways, coming in at number 6, we have Episode 7, The Force Awakens. I'm just going to say it. The intro is very misleading, and this just turns into a fancy retelling of A New Hope. It quite literally is just a fancy retelling. Here is the Death Star. Let's have an old senile character die to an evil character who has the potential to be redeemed, and afterwards the base gets destroyed, and that permanently sets by their plan. Maz Kanata was a pretty new character, and I actually really did enjoy Finn as the main protagonist. It's just a damn shame the other two movies don't do anything cool with him. Kylo Ren and Rey feel like Mary Sue's, especially Rey in this film. I get that the final fight, Kylo was weakened from Chewie's gun, which he shouldn't be able to stand up from, but ultimately, it would have been cooler to have Luke fight him. No offense. I think the intro is pretty good. It misleads me to thinking I'm having a good time every time I watch this movie, but always, at some point or another, I realize this is just a fancy retelling of A New Hope. And now you can kind of see, with all the sequel trilogy movies being taken out of place, that I don't like it. Granted, I think that this is actually a pretty good movie if you sit down to watch it, but if we're talking about the whole perspective, I don't think this needed to exist. Especially since Han's death is very, very stupid. But moving on to number 5, we have A New Hope. A New Hope is the classic Star Wars film. What can you really say that hasn't already been said before? We have Han's, the classic adventure. It's good versus evil. Evil with a sacrifice. It hits all the movie bullet points, but it gets away with it because A, it's the first, and B, it's the 1970s. Darth Vader is a menacing villain, even if he only gets 10 minutes of screen time between the whole movie. Seriously, look it up. The Death Star blowing up scene for around the 1970s is pretty damn fucking cool. And even if there wasn't really like sequels planned out from this moment, Han's foreshadowing with the debt is great. And by the way, George Lucas, you've made bad decisions before. Just let Han shoot first and be golden. This was, in between the original trilogy, I've got to say, before Obi-Wan dies, he absolutely seems like the main protagonist and the main character given attention. I know it's supposed to be Luke, but it's absolutely Obi-Wan. And I'm also going to say it here, Leia is how you properly do a girl boss character. So yeah, it's just overall a classically good movie. I just have the other four above it because I think they do things better. And speaking of number 4, this might be my most controversial pick, but we have The Phantom Menace. First off, Liam Neeson as a Jedi. What more could you possibly need in life? The Duel of Fates, Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan versus Darth Maul, one of the greatest duels of all time. I would say it is the greatest lightsaber duel of all time. But you'll find out about that in a movie later. I actually think that the midi-chlorians are cool, and I've kind of... Because in the original trilogy, it's just like some people can access the Force and some can't. I think it's kind of stupid that if the Force is all around you, then why aren't they teaching everybody how to use the Force? And why is Obi-Wan only teaching Luke? And now this movie establishes it. Midi-chlorians help you control the Force. And you have to have a high enough count. And that's why the Jedi can do it. The pod race scene is very fun. Honestly, if you look back in this movie, every scene outside of Coruscant is very fun. That's how I can describe this movie. It was surprising how much I enjoyed it. And Jar Jar's overhated. I get he's not that funny, but he's overhated, guys. Yeah, if you haven't watched it in a bit, give it another shot. It really is much more fun than you think. Is it the best of the prequels? Fuck no. But still, it's a lot better than I gave it credit for my first time around. So if you want to rewatch it, I would heavily suggest doing so. But anyways, coming in at number 3, we have Episode 6, Return of the Jedi. This movie is the main reason I hate the existence of the sequel trilogy, because this was just a perfect bookend to everything. And even when you take and it gets even better when you put the prequels into place. Luke versus Vader Round 2 is better than Luke versus Vader Round 1, and I will absolutely stand on that business forever. I don't care about... I know Empire Strikes Back is good, but I think their fight in this movie is way better. This is absolutely Luke's movie. He's shown his growth. He's grown a lot as a character, and he's finally being put to the ultimate test in which he succeeds. It's also the time when Vader finally fulfills his job as the Chosen One, and I refuse to believe that Rey is the Chosen One. You can end the movies here, and the story would work beautifully. Despite my opinions on the Emperor in Rise of Skywalker, I honestly thought he was a cool villain. It's just, he didn't really need to be brought back from the dead, especially considering that, he had a book end and everyone's characters was wrapped up. And the Ewoks are cute. And it's a forest moon of Endor. But in short, this is how you bookend a franchise. This was it. The bookend that we needed. Return of the Jedi was great. And I'm not going to stand here and pretend that it isn't. But anyways, moving on. Coming in at number 2, we have Empire Strikes Back. This is the fan favorite movie of the series. I know. Luke versus Vader, one of the greatest fights. Yoda and the Jedi lore being brought in for the first time here. It's nice. And everyone knows about the iconic I love you, I know scene. As well as I am your father. There are too many things about this movie that's iconic. And I'm going to say it right now. Han is the main character. I don't care who you say. Han is the main character of this film. It's the love story between him and Leia. He's the one that ultimately gets frozen in carbonite. He's the one that ultimately gets tortured by the main villain. He's the one that's ultimately getting the group around and is in control of the A-plot. Han is the best character of the original trilogy, Not my favorite character, he's my number 2, and he's the protagonist of this movie. It's great, but the best thing about this movie is that heroes losing. When was the last movie that you really saw the heroes outright lose in the end? Especially around the 1980s. This is that. And this is like perfect sequel bait. I get why The Empire Strikes Back hits an accord with so many people. It's not a happy ending. The villains outright win. They get Han. And there's an ultimate bombshell with Vader being Luke's father. But despite all that, I still think that there is a movie where the heroes being defeated is done better. And that is number 1, my personal pick for the best Star Wars movie in the Skywalker saga, is Revenge of the Sith. Okay, this is a small detail that has no meaning anywhere, but this slide is number 19 in the Google slideshow. This movie came out on May 19th, 2005. So on May 19th, it'll be celebrating its 20th anniversary in theaters. But I also want to point this out to you. You know who else was born on May 19th? Me! The Phantom Menace will be celebrating its 27th anniversary, Revenge of the Sith will be celebrating its 20th anniversary, and I will be celebrating my 19th anniversary. Anyways, let's get down to it. If there's one thing that Attack of the Clones did right in the prequels, it was the Obi-Wan and Anakin banter, and they carry that over exceptionally well here. Palpatine, we get to see Anakin's turn to the dark side, and it's so tragic. The memes, of course, are great. This movie and Attack of the Clones are known for their memes, but I think it's far more redeemable here, since when this movie is trying to be taken seriously, it is taken seriously. Windu versus Palpatine is an underrated fight. Same thing with Yoda versus Palpatine. But everyone knows the ultimate lightsaber duel, the best duel in this entire franchise, is Obi-Wan versus Anakin. It's tragic, it's the best choreographed. It is straight up the best lightsaber duel in all of Star Wars. And that's just kind of the thing why it's my personal favorite. I like lightsaber duels the most in Star Wars, and this film has lightsaber duels for days. I don't think the writing is all, and I think the heroes losing is far more tragic, especially knowing what we know now about the original trilogy. But with all this being said and done, I'm going to bid you all a good west positioning of the sun, everybody. So take care now, happy May the 4th, and watch these movies again. They're fun. There's a reason they have their own holiday, and it's the biggest movie film in the world. So yeah, take care, everyone. And if you feel like disagreeing with me, please be very respectful about it in the comments. I'm willing to hear opinions, but not if you're being an absolute douche. Anyway, take care, and I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.